Hello YouTube, this is Loyal to Law once again, and I'm making this video especially for beginners out there, since this is a channel that's designated towards beginners and some of the intermediate practitioners out there on the arts that I practice, namely FMA, which is Filipino martial arts, that consists of the basics, at least, of Kali, Arnis, or Eskrima, some Panuntukan, or and some of the strikes with the sticks, and knives or impact or blunt weapons. Also some karate. My lineage actually is Okinawan Shorin Ryu, Shidokan lineage, and some basic boxing and some Muay Thai. And I'm making this video especially for you beginners and intermediates out there, to let you know that, or should I say remind you, that one of the biggest things that you should never forget when you study martial arts. You can study all of the vast techniques that you can absorb and want, and you can actually practice them to the best of your ability and to your heart's content. And you can actually use them when it comes to self-defense. But I think the most important thing that you will learn and should always remember is being humble. And I recall Sensei DTG Taiho Jutsu, whom, as you haven't known, for some of you, is a dear friend of mine, even though we just met in the internet, via YouTube actually. And he's a very, very respectable person. And despite having all of the achievements of colors of belts of the martial arts that he studied, he's a master compared to me by far when it comes to rank and certification. He actually teaches special forces, so that's how great he is martial arts wise. But he remained humble, and it's one of the greatest things that I actually learned from Sensei DTG Taiho Jutsu. And I brought this topic up because a lot of martial arts practitioners, especially beginners and intermediate, because of their deep devotion in studying and improving themselves when studying martial arts, they tend to forget how to be humble. Especially when you're watching martial arts videos in the internet, where anyone is ambiguous and anonymous nowadays. They can't be attacked personally, and because they have a different name handle and it's not face-to-face interaction. Bashing other martial arts styles and disciplines is actually the norm, particularly when one practitioner actually elevates one martial arts style. And I had a recent encounter with that. It lasted for days, but eventually, hopefully, it died down, because I actually said very rough and stern words to the individual and individuals who also have that same mindset. And I'd want to remind the beginners and the intermediates out there to stay humble. There are a lot of ways that you can actually maim and make the person disabled when it comes to self-defense. And to actually see only one perspective is actually being narrow-minded, and it's very, very prideful. Not only is it prideful, but it is also shameful to the martial art discipline that you're actually practicing. And in doing so, you're actually making the masters and the teachers of that said art rolling in their graves. So in a sense, technically speaking, it's a sign of disrespect to your elders. It's a sign of disrespect to your parents, martial arts wise. So by just elevating one art amongst the rest is also actually negating and ignoring and thrashing the history behind the said art, especially if the art is very, very old, especially if the martial art actually helped a single nation during its rough times or during its tough times, through wars, through liberation. Actually, most especially if the martial art greatly contributed to the country's independence. And if it weren't for that martial art, there won't be that kind of nation today. And so for people to actually bash other arts is not only disrespectful and prideful, it also is heartbreaking. And I just want to share a quote by a martial arts teacher of mine. And this martial arts teacher of mine, I studied the basics of boxing and Muay Thai when I was in my college days. And even though I just took them during my college days, so I had the self-defense class and the Muay Thai class for actually 2 semesters, 2 separate semesters. This teacher of mine is a very, very good teacher, a very, very humble teacher. And despite of his knowledge and his physique and his great skill, he reflected the attitude of humility. And it shows in the way he taught, and he always emphasizes humility to all of his students, because if a student has no humility, he or she won't be able to actually be a perfect, or should I say a very improved human being. So without humility in the martial arts, forgive me for saying this, you're no different than an animal who actually just go for instincts and have no morals. And so here's his quote. Being a martial artist, you must do some things to be great or even good. And he listed 5 things. But the 6th one is the most important. 1, empty your cup. 2, lose your ego. 3, be a student. 4, visualize, not only to yourself, but also to other perspectives, and to see why that perspective works and why your perspective doesn't, and vice versa, and how both of your perspectives could meet at some kind of middle ground. Number 5 are priorities. The 6th is this. But lastly, this is the one that hurts us all. Get caught up in your own hype to not reach out to learn from even those you compete against. Respect all, but fear no one. And that's a really, really great quote, and it really hit me hard. Not because, there are times where I want to elevate the martial arts that I've been practicing, and to actually prove to anyone that are trying to bash those arts that I've studied. But if it weren't for him, if it weren't for studying under him, I would not be able to know what humility is in the martial arts. I would not be able to know how to be a better human being in the martial arts field. And so regardless of what other people say, that your martial art doesn't work to a certain extent, or if it totally doesn't work at all, I advise you to just stay humble, practice what you're training in, and if you are not confident enough in your training, then all the theories that are in your head, having head knowledge, carry them out and actually use it in sparring. Spar other people. It's one of the only ways for you to learn. I spar, despite of doing solo training and haven't been in a formal dojo or martial arts school yet. I actually spar from time to time, and I actually grow a lot. And all of the call that wrong perceptions that I have, or wrong impressions that I have on other martial arts disciplines, actually open my eyes and see not only the potential of the art, but the potential of what a human being can do. Because regardless of what martial art you're practicing, you're actually still fighting a human being, and a human being is just like you. He or she can think of some ways that can defeat you or can pin you down, and there are a lot of ways to, disable a person. And yeah, so stay humble, keep on practicing, spar. And what I mean by spar, I don't mean that you're actually going to pummel your opponent to death. By sparring, you should actually get the meaning of sparring as a practice match. And both of you and your sparring partner are there to learn. To learn for yourself, to learn what your opponent can do, to learn the possibilities of what an assailant can do, especially when it comes to a self-defense situation when the time arises. God forbid that you won't be in that. But if it comes push to shove, you might actually know and actually train your muscle memory to practice those said techniques. So theories are good, they're fine, but application is better. So theory without application will just stay a theory and will just stay as words. But if you put them into action, then you'll actually realize that oh, this doesn't work. Oh, it does work. So it's and it all starts with humility. You won't be able to apply head knowledge to reality, to actual sparring, to an actual altercation if you're not humble, because you can't be able to perceive that kind of view or to actually see other people's perspectives on the potential of what a human being can do if you're not humble. So forgive me for this kind of rant, but a lot of people are increasingly being more aggressive when it comes to bashing other people's arts. And it doesn't matter what kind of martial art you practice. If you bash other martial arts out there, you're also bashing the history behind them, even though some are myth. But there is some kind of history behind them, at least a solid evidence of it. You're bashing the accumulated knowledge that was gathered in order to bring the martial art up, and you're also bashing the success of the martial art, especially when it comes to self-defense, especially when it comes to contributing to the independence of a nation, of a country. So there you have it. Always be humble. Always be open-minded when practicing the martial arts, when sparring. And more importantly, respect. It's hard to actually bring back the old school dojo challenge. But if people continue to be disrespectful and continue to bash other martial arts, then tough word. It might be better to bring back the dojo challenge and bring back the death matches. And the only way that we could stop that or prevent that is to actually be humble ourselves first and understand other people are actually prideful. And by lovingly telling them to actually come down from their high horses, to empty their cup, to lose their ego, to be a student, to visualize and have the right priorities, and to not get up in their own hype, and to respect everyone but fear no one. So thank you all for listening to me, and thank you all for watching this video. I hope that this video has helped you even in the smallest way possible. God bless you all, always stay safe, and take care.